With the structure, Mr. Kabasharun shares some disturbing findings which he says is still in practice.
To become the chairman of the Barbers Association in a local government, you have to prove your loyalty to the local government chairman or to the party executives of the ruling party. You will not become the chairman of the Tailor Association. They will push you out. Another member who is more loyal than you will become the chairperson and you'll be relegated. This is how far the rot has gone. It's so deep, it's so entrenched that the populace you are talking about have become, they go in panhandling to beg so that they too may get a piece of the pie of the loot that is being shared. Listen, if you want to mobilize politically, and this is what all the governors do, are we not amazed that overnight they can mobilize 100,000 people to a gathering, to a specific location, overnight? It's through the local government functionaries. If you tell each local government, you mobilize 300 people each and come to this stadium by tomorrow, it's so easy for them to do it. They just tell all of these associations, you bring 10, 10, 10, 10 each. They send money to them and they all converge. They give them their t-shirts, their hats. I mean, are we not amazed that who organizes these people overnight? And they are so synchronized. They all have the same shirts. They all have the same hats. And they are so well organized. This is a trick.
A disturbing revelation by Mr. Kabasharun. It calls for serious consideration and could perhaps explain the negative perception of a lot of Nigerians who have over the years shown little or no regard for activities at the third tier of government. Even the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences, ICPC, that's Mr. Ekponta, shares his view on this.
The local government tier of governance in Nigeria is the most fraught with corruption-prone processes because their institutional processes, infrastructure, personnel, etc. are the least developed compared to federal and state tiers.
But the employees' union has an explanation.
Who are the local government? When the local government functions have been completely usurped by the operators of the state government. The local government system in Nigeria, as it is today, I am saying it with authority, there is no space for local government to deliver. There is no state for local government to exist visibly. But is there in our constitution, is there in our polity, is there in our governance system, but just written. But in practice, what we have is a caricature system of local government where we don't have teeth, we don't have nails to bite or to choke anybody.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Moyosori Onigbanjo, states the position of the Constitution.
Section 3, subsection 6 and subsection 7 of the Constitution creates local governments in Nigeria, and they are autonomous. It's the third tier of government. You have the federal, you have the state governments, and then you have the local governments. Local governments are supposed to have the local government chairman, and they're supposed to have councils. They are any revenue that accrues to the Federation of Nigeria ought to be distributed amongst the three tiers of government. So it goes, the revenue allocation committee will distribute it to the federal, to the state, and to local governments. So to all intents and purposes, local governments, as far as the law is concerned, are autonomous governments of their own. Autonomous in terms of the fact that they are to be governed or headed by democratically elected chairmen. So, you know, it is not by appointment or by selection. So they're supposed to have elections, and this election is to result in the election of the chairman and council members.
And the solution for Mr. Onigbanjo is back to the request of the National Union of Local Government Employees.
I believe that when local governments are given a free hand, the revenue they generate, they're allowed to retain it. The allocation that comes from the federation, they're allowed to also use it. I'm sure that we'll begin to see local government chairmen who will distinguish themselves in office. Just like we have some state governments who do well, who do their jobs. We'll begin to see it at the local government level. And the exception that we have now will begin to shrink till when we get to a stage whereby the greater percentage of local governments are working. But if you don't give them a chance, you don't give them the revenue, you don't give them the funds, they can never kick off and they will never achieve anything. And also, the current situation discourages people who really want to make a difference from running from those offices. Why will I go and run for office of local government chairman when I know that I'm handicapped to provide the services to the people who elected me? So I might as well not bother. But where I see that it is indeed possible to go and make a difference in my local government, then I might contest the election, knowing that the revenue that I have in my hands, I can deploy it in my local government area to make a difference.
Mr. Akabashiru asks for more, a total reform which would involve the people.
When the people have the free will to choose, they will checkmate them. The people are not checkmating the local governance because they know they are not there by their own virtue. They are there by the virtue of their political leaders and the governors. So you know they will not be responsible to you. So they don't bother to checkmate them. But when you have that free will and you know that your choice matters, you checkmate those excesses. And that is what is happening. Look at all of the funding. This we're talking about Shopee. Local governments were giving Shopee. Till date, nobody has questioned them. Everybody is focusing on what is happening at the top, the Senate president, the custom this. And whereas this is where real governance must start to be built. Alright. If we do not get it alright at the local government level, all that is happening at the top is a game. It's a waste of time. It's so important that we get the institution of local government right. Because the institution of local government must be built on a standard for the purpose of which it was created for. If the purpose for which it was created for was to sustain democracy and to increase development, then you want to make sure the processes by which people who would be in that institution of local government, that they will be there for that purpose, or their loyalty will be for that purpose. So if it is the people that will make choices freely to choose those people that will represent them, they would know they are responsible to those people. And that's the institution of local government we must build.
The unions continue to say Alute continue calling for the independence of local governments. The President Muhammadu Buhari, has also sounded his view, which is in line with this. So Nigerians wait to see which way the story will go next. Well, that's it on this episode of Big Story. I'm Ini Thompson.